Thank you very much, Dr. Dmitry Kuznetsov. I believe that maybe you know that tomorrow we are going to have, started at 5 o'clock, we are going to have the conference on blockchain and non-fintech blockchain, so you are most welcome. I believe that after what we heard from Dr. Kuznetsov, we are going to have a special panel in the next year or 2 years about quantum computing. This is going to be a leading buzzword while dealing with this one. Lior is here? No. Okay, Yosi, אתה מוכן? Okay, let's move to our some of our Israeli friends. One of them who is well known all over the world, presenting one of the most important companies in Israel, the Israel Electric Company. I say so because I pay them every month, so I have to do it in that way. Is Mr. Yosi Shneck. He is the Senior Vice President of Israel Electric Company, and I'm proud to say that the Israel Electric Company is playing also a very important role as used as a test bed to many of the companies, including startup companies. Thank you, Yosi.
Thank you. So good afternoon to all of us. It's an honor to be here, and actually I asked Rami before the presentation how much time I is, so he answered 2. Without unit, so I understood it's 2 hours. After he says 2 minutes, so I will run quickly over my presentation, and I am open after it for any question and everything. And I will talk about something that comes from a little bit different angle, and I call it cyber by design. And actually, when I'm thinking about the different thing we are hearing here, AI, I swear to myself that I will not use the word blockchain, but I have to do it. So I think that we are missing, in many cases, something very basic, and I will try to talk about it and say how I think that it should be solved. First of all, Israel Electric is one of the biggest industrial companies in Israel. It's defined as supercritical infrastructure. We are almost the sole utility responsible for the most of the supply chain of electricity to the state of Israel. And as I believe that you know, we are actually an electric island, so we are not backup to and interconnected with any electrical interconnections in the world. So I will talk about some facts, and then I will talk about something that I called cyber by design, and try to explain in very quick manner actually some methodologies and models and a little bit of algorithms that are behind this. So facts. First of all, I think all of us agree, because actually we are working around it, that cyber is one of the biggest risks to what we call the smart world. And refer a little bit to what the Rami said, what are the critical infrastructure or critical systems. I think that we are moving more and more to a situation that most of our systems become critical because they heavily influence our life process. And we all agree, I think, that it is unable totally to eliminate the risk, but we can to reduce it. And I would like to put some facts and ask, did we learn from all the events and history we are exercising in the cyber world? And I say no and no. High percentage of the new, and I call it things, because it's not only system, it's systems, processes, policies, anything. They suffer from the new same problem as we were used before. They suffer from the same vulnerabilities as we have known. And the newer system we are buying, after analyzing, you will find that they have many vulnerabilities that are known in the old products or old processes and everything. And I call it actually that we are facing zero-date factory all the time. And those are some statistics you can see here. For example, the development is about 111 billion annual number of coded lines in the world. Zero date reported 2015 was one a week. In 2025 it is expected to be one a daily percent. Adobe, for example, in 2016 discovered 135 vulnerabilities in their products. Many of them were known vulnerabilities. And so you can go to Microsoft and to Apple. We are using more and more open code. Open code is a very good practice, but it's more vulnerable. And the commercial application, about 30% of commercial applications are using open code. In-house development uses sometimes even 70% of open code. And 99% of critical infrastructure application or critical applications are using open code. So this is actually the world we are living in. And the question is there really no choice? So most of our energy in defense should be actually, I say, fighting the holes, most of them known in our products, processes, and everything. Additional thing that I would like to say, and based on a report of X-Force of IBM, that actually many of the vulnerabilities are actually because of misconfigure or misintegration of different products in the organization. So again, we are creating actually an attack surface by doing things by ourselves in our organization. And I say there is a choice how to overcome it, and the cyber by design, I hope we'll explain it a little bit. First of all, what's the meaning of by design? By design is very simple. Design stage is the first stage in a process after an idea. You get an idea, or you want to check it, you start the design stage. This is actually the first practical stage in any process. It doesn't have to be a computerized process, because I will show you the cyber by design. And cyber is created not only by computerized processes. And this is the most significant stage when you can actually influence the quality of the product, of the end product. And I can just compare it, for example, to the car industry. Did somebody even thought that somebody will start some change in car industry, in a car, without taking in account in the first stages, even in the idea stage, safety? Cyber should be taken in the same measure. It should be like safety in car industry. So what is cyber by design? Cyber is considered from the earliest stage of the design stage of anything we are doing. And most of the companies are actually working according to a nice model called cyber by luck. Okay? And if you are working by cyber by luck, you actually are automatically member of very famous organization that I call defective by design organization. It's free of fee, no money, and you are automatically. But if you will use cyber by design, and I will explain it a bit in a few minutes what I'm meaning, you actually are going to a resilient by design organization. And this is what we are looking. We heard by the previous explanations that the resiliency is one of the things that all of us are actually looking for. So where cyber by design? One of the models that IEC is working is, we call it cyber everywhere. In comparison to models that we used a few years ago, that actually we say cyber is only in specific spots in the organization, we don't believe it anymore. And most of you are exposed to many events in the world, understand that actually today cyber comes from any past possible in organization or anything. And cyber everywhere means that actually you have to do CBD, cyber by design everywhere. And just quickly, I will go over it. We developed a methodology and also tools that actually create the cyber by design culture or behavior. Just example, one of the parameters that we are looking, it's called distance from organization. Okay? In any distance from organization, you should actually act by cyber by design. So for example, in the internal layer operations or in the outer layer operations that are part of your supply chain. When I say cyber everywhere, it means everywhere. And I always give you a simple example. If you move one of your departments in the organization from one side to another side, does it have influence on cyber? Do you have to do cyber by design, even it seems like a simple operation, not connected to any system? Yes, you have to do cyber by design. So those different actions here can show you, according to the color actually expresses the distance from organization, what do you have to do? What is cyber? So for example, if you have new regulations, does those regulations simply have to be implemented, or have you checked from the design stage of implementing those regulations the cyber effects? And I say yes. You can see that actually it's a little bit complex than this presentation, and different activities, for example, activities of technicians have different power of CBD according to their distance from the organization. And again, I will not enter, but as I say, we have a total model and how to do it, and condition to do it. First of all, organizations should understand until the last and delicatest detail the process that they are doing. Everything. If somebody doesn't understand the whole process, actually they cannot defend it in a good manner. So first of all, we have to have tools that are actually able to model any process you are doing. If it is computerized or if it is a procedural process. You have to manage an updated threat database. You have to manage updated vulnerabilities database. You have to manage CBD procedure and policies that you implement in your company. So for example, everybody should know that when you move your department, you should check it by design procedures. And again, some control issues. Those are the prerequisites. We develop different techniques, how we actually process with these techniques. The first one is screening. You actually take the process or new process or changing process. You take the model, the computerized model, and actually by some algorithms, you actually meet them with the threats, with the process components, and with the vulnerabilities, and you calculate what are the most critical and let's say risky spots in your process. After it's done, you run additional process, again, algorithms that includes some type of AI, we heard about it from Dr. Kuznetsov, that actually calculates at the end of the day the real risk on any of your end-to-end processes that are influenced by the change or new system that you are implementing. So those techniques actually, and I would like to show them on a supply chain, and I'm here to the end of the presentation. The CBD techniques actually need few things. First of all, you have to have very delicate mapping of what you are doing to understand not only the spot when the process is touching, but the whole end-to-end process that can be influenced. Second, you have to have or manage control points, okay? Different control points that the producer, supplier, chain, all over the chain from the supplier or producer up to your organization. You have to understand and model the supplier involvement, the producer involvement, the financial legal involvement. For example, different legal instruction can actually bring additional vulnerabilities to your process. And how to implement, very simply. First of all, modeling culture. It's nice to say, but most of the organizations don't have it. They describe the model by I call it literature technology, some description, everything. It should be modelized. So you can analyze it and not only talk about it. you have to implement CBD culture. So design process part it's part of the working routine. You have to work around the commitment. No exceptions. Even if the CEO or the chairman of the company wants to change something, he must understand that this change will be analyzed by the CBD process. Some checklist, structured checklist that you can check that actually you are working accordingly, and very sophisticated change management. So anything actually, because cyber is everywhere, that moves if the company should be actually taken in account. I will not go over all the examples, but simple examples. Passwords. Actually, we are hearing, and I am a lot of years in the industry, we are hearing that the password technology of protection will disappear in few moments, 2-3 months. I am hearing it about 30 years, and I am looking at the new system with very sophisticated 2 authentication, 3 authentication. At the end of the day, one of them is still password. And if the 2 others doesn't work, you are asked, please give me the password or the PIN. Okay? So this is a simple example. We are implementing, and I can describe the newest technology and systems we are purchasing are still using the old procedure that are used again 30 years ago, use of password. So those are examples. And if you use CBD, actually you will not implement such a system without some modification to such a procedure. So CBD, I think this is the additional layer that is needed actually to protect your company and our world better. Thank you very much.